Hey VC, it's me Roger back after a while. Here to make a quick video response to James Buttrey's contest. Hey James, how you doing? Greetings from the other side of the world. James, yes. If you don't know about James Buttrey, I'll put a link below to his channel. You should check him out. Young guy, great taste in music. Lives in Australia, Melbourne. Friends with VC luminaries like Anthony Camplone, Fred Big Star 1000. So James started a thread. The question was, or the idea is to show a record from where you're from. And James talked about how he was born in England, right, but grew up in New Zealand. Now lives in Australia, but he considers New Zealand home. It's kind of interesting, kind of similar background. I was going to make this long video, but I'll try to keep this short. But home. I was born in Houston, Texas. Moved to Connecticut when I was 7. Grew up there, but that wasn't really home. Houston, Texas is definitely not my home. Went to school in Boston, lived there for 16 years, but that never felt like home. I mean, when I got married, there was no way we were gonna be able to own a home in Boston or anywhere near that. So we picked up and moved to Nashville in 1997, and we didn't know anybody and didn't even have jobs or nothing. It was just, we were drawn here. So it's our adopted home, I guess. And when it came time to buy a house, we were really drawn to this place, this little town called Kingston Springs on the west side of Nashville, about 25 miles west of Nashville. And we bought this little house, a little piece of property, and we just love it here. And I never quite understood why we were drawn here. We didn't have family or friends here. Now we do have some family here. My nephew Brian built this amazing studio, lives here, and my niece Mandy now lives here. So Nashville is my home, but specifically Kingston Springs is my home. And just last week, this record came out that is about the town of Kingston Springs, Tennessee. The Kingston Springs Suite by Vince Matthews and Jim Casey. I'd read about this in Rolling Stone, and when I heard about it, I was like, well, I have to check this out. I mean, come on, this is... so there's Vince Casey Vince Matthews, not with Jim Casey, floating down the Harpeth River, just down the hill here. So this is kind of a lost concept album, country concept album from 1972. Johnny Cash was involved in this, and Chris Christopherson, and a bunch of people. I guess this guy, Vince Matthews, was kind of crazy, and it was the 70s, and he kind of went off the rails. And anyway, the record never came out, and it's finally out on this Delmore Recording Society, which I think is here in Nashville. Yeah, so Kingston Springs. Now, I knew that Kingston Springs was back in the turn of the 1900s, was kind of a resort town, and passenger train used to run from Nashville out to Kingston Springs, and people would stay out in this inn, which is still derelict, but still standing, and bathe in the springs and stuff. And but beyond that, I didn't really know much about Kingston Springs. But all the press around this record and the record itself, there's some great liner notes here by Vince Matthews. This article he wrote, I guess around the time this is supposed to come out. So there's some clippings here. He references all these places that are I drive by them all the time, and it's just neat to have some history to this place. And I guess back in the 70s it was a real kind of hippie hangout, or the town tolerated the hippies, and I don't know. It still has a reputation as a place where songwriters live, and I know of several musicians that live out here. And what's interesting, and maybe not that interesting, it's interesting to me. There's only two roads to get to Kingston Springs. There's the interstate, or there's Highway 70. But interestingly, Highway 70 does not run through the town of Kingston Springs. And in this essay by Vince Matthews, he talks about this guy who wouldn't sell him the tree, and so forced Highway 70 to run, several miles away from town. I was reading that, I was thinking, you know what? That is a big part of what makes Kingston Springs special. Because if Highway 70 did run through the middle of town, it would be totally different. It would, So it still has a very country flavor. And even though here in 72 he's lamenting that things are changing and they're building more houses and stuff, and it's not going to be a country town anymore. The truth is, Kingston Springs is a little country town. But it's only 25 miles from Nashville, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to live. Now, musically, I gotta say this is not great, but I'm not a big country fan anyway. And this is corn pone country here. The only person I can think of who'd really dig this would be Zeke, the record geek. And in fact, this guy Jim Casey, guy who co-wrote the songs with Vince Matthews, performed this album down at the little park down here in Kingston Springs on Sunday. And so of course we went, and it was great. Really a lot of fun. More stories about that time. And I got to talk to him a little bit, and got a copy of this for you, Zach, and I got him to sign it for you. Because I know Zach's a history buff. I know he'll appreciate this as an artifact, and musically too, maybe. But anyway, what a trip to have this little town that I live in have its own record here coming out 40 years later. Lots of fun for me and Liz, and really makes us feel even more connected to this place. I mean, I tell you, when we went down to hear this guy, you could tell the locals were like, who are these people? Are they from the city? But it was clear that we were into it, and by the end we were all having a good old time. So yeah, the Kingston Springs Suite country concept album about this little town I live in. I had to share it and make it part of a response to James's contest. James, I doubt you would dig this at all, but who knows? Anyway, there it is. There's my response. Cheers to you, James. Look forward to more videos from you, and I'd really like to win that comp. That looks cool. Cheers. Thanks for watching. I broke my vinyl diet. I went over a month. That's pretty good. So I've got some stuff to show soon. Take care.